And they'll tell you, man, nothing's really going to fix it until, the bottom gets brought to them or they bring the bottom to themselves. And, it can go from being a loving family member into now you're, just basically contributing to the, to the issue. But they're your family and you love them, right? Well, a woman's dealing with it. She's in her 60s. And I'm sorry, man, but this mouse won't go over to the screen. I needed to just scroll down for me to get this information. Good Lord. So this is going on in Thailand, right? And she's doing her best to keep her son off of drugs. And if you love your kid, right, like obviously that's what you're going to want to try to do, right? And he's become violent over the years because now not only is he addicted to drugs, you know what happened now? He's become addicted to gambling. My guess there is, she didn't really talk about it a whole lot, but my guess is I need the money for the drugs. Gambling will bring some real fast money. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, you can, and now you got two addictions. And they're both pretty bad. The son is 42 years old, right? She's tried the kicking him out. She's tried all of the things that people are going to tell me, just do this, just do this, just do that. She's done it all. She's 62. He's 42. He's a man. She's a woman. There is I can overpower you issue here, right? There is this. It's also Thailand. I don't know how much help she's receiving from officials. So she didn't know what to do. I mean, like, literally, my son steals from me. He takes my medication. He's gambling all of my money. He then spends what he does get, on drugs. And, I don't know what to do with this. She doesn't want him leaving the house because he's a danger to society, himself, and everybody, literally everybody. So what do you do? What she decided to do, this is nuts. I mean, this is absolutely craziness. What she decided to do is build a jail cell in her home. Again, I'm trying to scroll here, and I don't have that ability for some reason. But for 20 years, she says, look, I've lived in constant fear. I've lived alone with my son since my husband passed away. She says this is part of the reason why why my son has the drug addiction, right? That he was trying to work through the sadness of that. Plenty of people have that story. So she now has installed an iron jail cell inside her residence that he is in. You have seen Silence of the Lambs, right? That's where they got him, and he's got the collar on, and he can walk around like the big giant iron bird cage. That's what she has built in her house over her son's drug addiction. This is nightmarish, dude. Absolutely nightmare fuel. What do you do, though? What do you do? You're a little old lady. You can be overpowered by your younger son. I mean, he's in his 40s, but he's still, dude, he's young. She says the room is filled with bars, has essentially all the amenities you're looking for. She's given him a bed. He has a bathroom. He has access to that bathroom. Wi-Fi, she said. I designed a small hole to deliver food and drinks to my son, and I installed a closed caption television system to monitor the behavior 24 hours a day. I believe this measure will protect me, my neighbors, from the aggressive behavior. And she's right here about the neighbors a little bit, right? Here's the thing. If your addiction is at the point where you're sticking your dirty mitts in your mother's purse, you will easily steal from the neighbor. If you'll slap your mother around to get what you want, you're not going to slap the little old lady who lives across the hall from your mother? Yes, you will. The cops less than thrilled about the jail cell. They don't love it. They don't necessarily love it. They're not happy about it. They ended up showing up at the house. A spokesperson tells reporters that the woman could be found guilty of infringing on human rights and unlawful detention. That's how messed up the world is. Now, you do got to look into it, because there are evil people who will literally just keep a human being in a dog crate. I mean, that show Criminal Minds didn't fall out of the sky. Human beings are terrible to one another, right? We're terrible to one another. So, you got to, knock on the door, right? All right, lady, let us take a look around. Well, the kid won't start slamming heroin needles into his, into his nether regions, and he beats up everybody in the building. I had to lock him down. Are they upset because she may be unlawfully detaining somebody, or are they upset because she's doing their job better than they ever could?
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
We'll rock the bank. Pass out that first $1,000 keyword. There are 11 more on Rock 106.9 throughout the day. Also at 9, the Hawk Tour Girl's got her own dating app coming out now. Maybe you and I will be able to find our better halves. She's an expert. She knows how to keep people happy, right? We know that. Yeah. Take a look at that. Had been talking about this woman in Thailand. She's like in her 60s. Her son's in her, his 40s. And apparently since her husband died, he's been going through a drug addiction issue. And somewhere along the line, picked up a gambling addiction on top of the drug and alcohol addiction. That's a bad combination. That's a bad combo. And I'm sure I think we can make the easy leap of how we got here, right? I kind of need the money. Scratch off tickets will lead me to the land of milk and honey. A little bet, a little fin here. Just on the over tonight's game, right? And it just one thing leads to the other. Having family members who live in Las Vegas.
How's it going?
I don't really get caught up in like the card games and like a lot of that kind of stuff. I see a lot of that, and I'm like, oh, I don't really get it. But I've
just
loved the sports
making my
book.
daily drive out to work.
Games, so I understand people being pulled into it. It's an issue.
About a half-hour trip through the countryside.
He's on the drugs, or when he can't get the money to make the bets or to buy the drugs, he gets violent. It's an issue. His mom's kicked him in and out of the house a million times, right? Now, she loves her son. She wants, She wants him to stay alive, but she's worried about the neighbors. She's worried about her. And like I said, if you're willing to smack your mother up, you'll hit anybody. You'll hit mom, you'll hit anybody. That's kind of how that's how I see it. She didn't know what to do. She built a detention center in her house. I mean, nuts. We have another one of these stories where a lady has to lock herself in her house. We'll get to that at 8. This poor woman built, again, it reminds me of the Sounds of the Wind. Not the well. Not that, right? Not that. That was real simple. But the big iron bird cage that they put Hannibal in when he was allowed to walk around for 45 minutes, that whole thing, when he ends up killing that whole crew. Yeah, she built one of those in her house. Cops not thrilled. They're worried about the unlawful detention here. I get it. And you do have to be concerned about people doing this kind of stuff. I said, that show Criminal Minds didn't fall out of the sky. People are sick. Right? There are people who will just keep somebody in a dog cage just for the hell of it because it turns them on or whatever the hell's going on with weirdos. Who knows? They're weirdos. So you got to be worried about it. I get it. I mean, you are locking somebody up beyond their will. That's not great. And more often than not, you can find me going, dude, arrest that lady. Get her the hell out of it. I don't know what else she's supposed to do. Kick him out. Okay. He's going to overpower her. You don't think he can kick a door in? Then what do you do? Call the cops. All right. Arrest him. Put him back on the street. Don't have the room for him. Right? All right. Give him the fine. He definitely has the money to pay it. So give him the fine. And then, what do you do? What do you do? I understand that there is you can't just start locking people up in your homes, dude. We can't leave it up to people. I get that. I do. I think we found the one story where it's like, yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. You can do that. Maybe I'm sympathetic to it, man, because, my parents kind of, not on this level, but David was a handful. When I see have to fight like men. Because David was standing there, dude, I will literally just fight you. At, 13. They were dude, but they had no idea what to do with David. No clue. In and out of the house, living with grandma, moving over there, in and out of jail. I mean, dude, there was nothing. You could do nothing. When I was in, I'll throw punches. What do you want to do? I'll throw punches. You'd overpower mom. Now, he wouldn't. That was the thing. Normally mom would be he would, David, he's the toughest mama's boy you'll ever meet. But they had to put the kid out. But when he wanted to come back home, what do you think he did? Walk back in the house. What are you going to do? At some point, I remember The Sopranos. Carmela's going crazy with Meadow. And Tony just says, I hear you, Carm, but whatever you do, don't overplay your hand here, because then when she finds out we're powerless, we are effed. And, there's a little bit of truth in that. There gets to be an age, it's what do you do? Well, put him out. Okay. If he wants to kick the door open, he's going to kick the door open. You cannot unlawfully detain people. I understand it. But like I said, I think we did find the one story where it's well, maybe she's allowed though, right? Maybe she's allowed to do that. It's terrible because of all the nightmarish things that are out there for people. And you can't just be well, it's a parent. Because, dude, bad parents put babies in ovens for crying out. So you can't just be like, well, they're the parent, they know better. It's like, no, they don't. I mean, how many stupid people do you know are parents? A lot, right? I mean, they're literally everywhere. And so, like, you can't just trust that. But do I understand how a parent, while still wanting to love their child, is to the point, well, okay, I want to love you, but I have to love me first in order to be able to love you.
The Stansberry Show
I like his energy. He doesn't have any.
on Rock 1069.
I've been asked about this a lot over the last couple of days, and I have stayed away from it for no other reason than, like, I just don't know how to form my opinion. And I'm talking about the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight tomorrow. Right? People are like, dude, what do you think happens? It's hard to tell, if I'm honest. Because I don't know what to make of it. It's clearly a spectacle. Mike is damn near 60. And Jake, man, you know, when he started the boxing thing, we were all like, eh, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, he hasn't really filled the cards with like a who's who of boxers, right? Like, he has not done that. However, it feels like the training, the technique, the trying to get better, he's at least taken that seriously enough. He's yet to fight anybody really in their prime, and, like, you know, and we kind of know what we're getting here. I mean, the Paul brothers, say what you want. They understand entertainment. They understand putting on shows. They get how to manipulate audiences. This fight taking place on Netflix tomorrow, which is why I will watch it. I, at my age now, would never, and I mean never, take money out of my pocket to pay for a Mike Tyson fight. And it goes back to being a kid. My brother and I begged that man all day, buy the Tyson fight, buy the Tyson fight, buy the Tyson fight, buy the Tyson fight, and he wouldn't do it. And sure enough, David and I wouldn't shut up. Buy the Tyson fight, buy the Tyson fight, buy the Tyson fight. He buys the fight. You know what happened. Bro, you know exactly what happened. That bell rang, Tyson swung, fight over. Dude, I swear to God, bro, you would have thought like terrorists invaded like Pirates Trail. Like, he lost his goddamn mind, bro. Like, that house was louder than where that fight was taking place. I mean, just screaming, just giving my mother fresh hell about how she just was like signed on with her two idiot kids, right? We belong to him too, right? And like, but now we're her idiot kids, right? And just furious mad, and it stuck with me. It really did. And so, like, I can't do it. I was buying the UFC fights early on and all that kind of stuff. I just, you know, now I kind of can't do it, especially for a fight like this. I could even spend the money on a big UFC fight that I think is legitimate. Like, if you give me another Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz fight, it's like, well, they're both kind of over it now. It's like this and that, but like, all right, let me see it, right? I'd probably pay you the money for that. I don't know what to make of Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I don't know what to make of it. Mike, if he wasn't anywhere near 60, it's not close. We know, right? He mops the floor with this. Who loses more if you lose? Mike Tyson. So doesn't he win? Nobody thinks Jake Paul can beat Mike Tyson. He doesn't lose anything if he does. Well, he loses the boxing credibility. Wasn't it? No, that was the McGregor-Mayweather one, where they literally wore the ski masks on the way to the ring because they were telling you it was a bank heist. I mean, like, that got a little crazy. This feels a little... it feels a little bit more legitimate than that. I've seen the Mike Tyson training videos. Makes me a little afraid for Jake Paul. But I've seen Deshaun Watson throw pretty balls in practice, too. You know what I mean? I don't know what to make of it. Man's almost 60. You know, I keep saying that, but I tell you about my brother occasionally. My brother's almost 60. I I like him to beat up most people Jake Paul's age. As a matter of fact, you take that ref out of that ring and take gloves off of everybody, you gonna make Jake Paul run. For sure. So, like, the age thing, by the way, young fellas, don't get your ass beat up in the bar now. like, whatever, like, dude, just, like, that guy sitting at the end of that bar, little salt and pepper in that beard. I'm just gonna remind you, what that dude had to fight in bars every weekend. You don't anymore because it's mean and it's bad and it's this and it's that and it's that, right? That dude, they had to fight every night in bars. Don't be getting messed up in there because you're young and think you're just gonna mop the floor with some old dude. Be careful. Be very careful with that. That would be foolish, right? There are plenty of dudes, 65 plus, tie your little ass in a pretzel. I mean, right now. I think Mike Tyson's gonna kick his ass. Because I think Mike Tyson would kick his ass. And I don't think what we're going to see here tomorrow night is legitimate. I believe what we're going to see is a predetermined decision. And Jake Paul has less to lose. If everybody wakes up Saturday morning and be like, oh, dude, Mike Tyson beat him up? Yeah, it's what we thought would happen, right? Yeah, all right, let him fight Tyron Woodley another one time or whatever the hell happens, and let him fight another 90-year-old, and let's see what happens. I mean, that's it. Jake Paul can go on being Jake Paul if this doesn't go his way. Mike Tyson loses this fight. All of a sudden, it's a fighter's legacy is different. But he's 60. But you know the internet. They're not going to care. You're a real fighter, Jake isn't. He's going to win the fight.
The Stansberry Show.
I just thought you were a dumb freeloader who ate all my food and played video games all day.
On Rock 1069.
9 a.m. Pass out that Rock the Bank $1,000 keyword. And I got to tell you, I kind of feel like giving you, a few of you, $1,000 right now, if I'm honest. A few of you, pretty confident that my opinion on Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, could not be any more wrong. 330-450-7625, your text line, where people have told me I'm dead wrong here. Oh, Stansberry, you just wait. Jake Paul gonna knock out your Gen X icon. Knock him out? Hold on. Let's see if this tells me here anything about the fight and whether or not we'll even get to that point. Apparently right now, Jake Paul the favorite. All right, so yeah, KOs and TKOs are on the card. Mike, you can get Mike Tyson by knockout or TKO there. Oh God, I gotta tell you. Well, all right, if you don't win round one, do you win on the card? Probably not. Setting the tone of the fight there. I don't know. A lot of you seem to think that it's just going to be Jake. The age thing, a lot of people can't get over. Which, you know, I guess if we wanted to, we could have a conversation about how we're an ageist society, you know, if you want. You know, my mom's side of the family kind of just like disproved the age and you lose the strength and you're not. My mom's dad was tough until he died. Like, he was never frail, ever. He was never old like that. He was one of those guys, this is not hyperbole, would literally just like turn bolts on engines with his hand. Grandpa, you want that wrench? Oh, you don't need no wrench, sissy generation. Oh, get in here, okay, make it great again, wrench, right? And just yanking bolts off of like V8s with his hand. That dude had sausage fingers. Like, I was afraid of that man until the day he died. Not like literally, but like, dude, you don't want to mess with Earl, bro. Like, he was a handful. Tough. Just that old school farmhand tough. You know what I mean? Like that, just like, you're tough just because, like, I asked him once, I was like, who taught you all this? I never anybody teach me anything. That's why I didn't just learn what they taught me. I learned it all, Daniel. Like, that's, I mean, literally, like, he was like just one of those. And like, he could have beat us all up and when he was like 75. I don't think Tyson, just because he's approaching 60, doesn't mean he can't swing them hands around. Like, I don't know, man. Get a little winded, right? Right? The conditioning, easier for a younger man, will not disagree with that. I feel like Tyson's kept somewhat in shape. You're talking lucky punches here, you know? Which could, I mean, you could sell that for either guy. I mean, the one thing I'll say is, and I don't know about technique of boxing, right? Like, this is not, like, that wouldn't be my area. Joe Rogan seems to be a pretty popular guy. And the one thing he knows pretty well is fighting. He has been saying for more than a while now, people don't take Jake Paul seriously enough. He knows how to throw punches. He has learned this. He is taking this. He wants to be good at it. He will tell you, yeah, all right, some of the fights. Okay, yeah, caliber of fighter. Okay. Whether or not the kid do this, that he says there's no debate. He can throw the punches. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, you could be famous for one thing, but if you end up being good at this, it's not like, well, all right, you're not allowed to do that because you were famous for this. Reminds me of, it could not be any different, but my opinion on this reminds me of, we were talking prenups. This was about a week ago, and I said, I just don't like them. And then, you know, it's an opinion program, right? People start texting in, right in, and all this stuff, and kind of tell me where they're at on it. Oh, you have an idealist view, and you're like Disney princess about this, right? And it's like, you know, they're practical and they make sense. And next thing you know, and you even all the time say, you know, divorce rate 52%. Like, what the hell? How the hell do we got to be talking you into this? And I always say when we have that conversation, I'm going to listen to every one of your arguments and go, but I just don't think they're right. That feels like this. You can tell me a million things about Jake Paul that make sense on why he's going to win this fight. That might be nostalgia. It might be. It might be because I ran into him once at Beechwood Mall. He was wearing like a bedazzled robe. It was nuts. Like literally his security like ran into us in the back. Like they kind of bumped into us and we were turning around and we were young. I mean, I was real young. I mean, I was wearing a 2 different color Tommy Hilfiger coat. So I'm like, oh, I'm pretty young, right? And I got kind of bumped into. I was like, oh, I got an attitude on me. What the hell? I turn around. I was like, oh. There was like 6 dudes, right? So that would have been enough. But they were all like circling around again. And we looked, we were like, that's Iron Mike. And we freaked out. We're like, Iron Mike, right? Like Beechwood Mall, freaking out. Right? And the one security guard felt so dumb in our whole entire lives. Like, oh, dude, we just ruined it for the champ, man. Like, we just ruined it. Next thing you know, he walks out in like the main center of the mall, walked into some lady's clothing store, he bought something nice for some lady, and then, you know, I don't know what happened after that, but like, you know what I mean? But he was wearing some like sparkly robe, and I remember my buddy was like, they're mad at us for pointing him out. He was wearing a sparkly robe. So there might just be a little nostalgia in me for Mike Tyson. Somebody said, like, dude, your Gen X icon's gonna get in. That was pretty good. Maybe. You know, I'll say that. If that's what ends up happening, like, let's say it's not fast. And Jake Paul realizes, oh, I have this guy. And he just starts toying with him. And it's going on, and it gets to this is what I don't want to have happen. Jordan with the Wizards kind of sucks. Supposed to be at the office anymore. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think I'll love that.
The Stansberry Show.
Yeah, but listen, for every 100 angry calls we get, there is somebody that I help.
On Rock 1069.
Daughter who in 2009, when I spent a lot of time listening to, you know, all of those things. I mean, I kind of, you know, podcasting for me is a lot like the late night guys. I want more world. You know what I mean? Like, if I do any type of listening there, it's research. It's like, it's not necessarily the world. Be people who will see it as weakness, and there will be people who see it as beta. But again, they're not going to call Mike Tyson beta. They'll call you beta when they see you do what Mike Tyson does. Mike Tyson does it well. An alpha needs a place to go and be a lion, and a lion even sleeps at night, and blah, blah, blah. They'll find some bull, you know, they'll find some BS meme that tells them they're still a man, right? Like, they'll find a way for them to be doing what they want, but you're not supposed to be doing. But he's been pretty open and honest about it. I have not been able to successfully find the Jake Paul trash talk dead daughter thing. And you know what? I hope that's because, and I don't think Jake Paul, it's like, I don't think the guy's, I don't know if he's a bad person, but it's not like, I'm like, yeah, good dude. It's like, that's not the vibe I get. Right? But there's a difference between like, kind of a douche. All right. There's a difference between a douche and a scumbag. Right? Like a douche is like, oh, dude, you're bringing him, really? Like, I'm sure some of you are like, you have friends who are like, dude, not him. Don't bring him. Don't bring Stansbury here. Don't do that, right? Like, yeah, little douche. Scumbag is make fun of your dead kid. It's different. You know, scumbag's not a mean enough word, but you know, I mean, there's a government agency that'll get real mad at me if I use words that you're using in your car about me. Not a strong enough word, but search results. What you use. Because honestly, I said I Googled this, but I didn't. They installed a new web browser in here, and automatically I'm now using a Microsoft product. I don't know why. It just happened to be installed in here. So I'm using their search engine right now. Just by default, because I just opened a window and started doing it. I'll tell you why I mentioned it. This is where we're way off the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, like, beaten path now. We're way off. This is a couple of months ago. And there was a shooting in Columbus. And I was talking to somebody about it. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? And I said, what do you mean? There's an active shooter on OSU's campus, like right now. And I was searching it. Said, what the hell are you talking about? No, there isn't. Not a single result would come up. Not one. We were arguing on the phone. I said, what the hell are you talking? I gotta, you know what I mean? Gotta get into this tomorrow. And I was kind of like on her about it. And she was like, Daniel, I'm telling you. I pulled up a different web browser, a different app, a different thing to search it. First thing I saw. What a lot of people are going to think is, man, does he think that's nefarious? And maybe. I think what it's more likely is that everybody thinks everything can be done without anybody, and just do this and set the algorithm to do this, and it'll automatically switch when the computer system tells it to. Half the show today has been explaining to you how none of that has been working the way it's supposed to be doing, you know, how it's supposed to be going down. So I think there's a little bit of that with the search. So what I'm saying is because I haven't been able to see the Jake Paul thing while we're doing it live on the air. Hey, Jamie, look that. Oh, there is no. Hey, producer. Oh, wait, that's me. Right? Like so as I'm looking it up live while I'm discussing it with you, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to be doing or the best use of all of our time, right? I don't see that. And as a person who does not think very much of Jake Paul, and I do not. And that's just by watching it, and honestly, the saturation, there's a little bit of the Taylor Swift effect there. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you don't hate her, you're just sick of hearing about her. And that's kind of where I'm at with the Jake Paul thing. I'm like, dude, the hair's kind of dumb. The underbite makes me want to hit him. But he learned boxing, and now I don't get to hit him. All right? Because the underbite makes me want to punch him in the face. But then you realize, somebody already did, right? And then, but it's like, and now I'm even more mad because I can't punch him in the face because the guy knows boxing. And that's why I don't like Jake Paul. Yeah, I drink a gallon and a half of haterade, and I can't stand the dude now.
Bonafide, made in America screw up.
On Rock.
Bank gives you $1,000 and Lincoln Park.
Hi, I'm Kevin, and I just won $1,000.
Welcome back to the Stansbury Show here on Rock 106.9.